Hey everyone, Xavier the Magnificent X here. I have another video for you. Today this will be one of the few, if only, fragrance tutorials I'll ever do on my channel. And this is basically a topic that I believe the fragrance community doesn't touch on enough and needs to speak on a little more about. So today, without further ado, I want to discuss with you the top 5 common mistakes people make when considering to purchase a fragrance. So without further ado, let me get into the list. The first mistake that people make when considering to buy a fragrance is they do what is known as blind buying, or what is also known in textbook as impulse buying. To put it out in better perspective, a lot of people don't make the mistake of purchasing a fragrance without actually testing the fragrance on their actual skin. And this has me leading to mentioning somebody very important in the community. I don't have any personal beefs with this person. I have to acknowledge to Jeremy Fragrance, who is pretty popular, one of the most, if not the most popular fragrance reviewer on YouTube. Let me say it like this: I have nothing against Jeremy Fragrance hyping the fragrances he has done so far on his channel, because I do believe that they did garner the attention that he said he did. Even though there are maybe a couple that I'm not maybe a big fan of, but nonetheless, here's a little extension, or better yet, here's what Jeremy is not telling you. Even though those fragrances like La Nuit de l'Homme, Pegasus by Parfums de Marly, Mont Blanc Individual, and Tobacco Vanille, even though those fragrances worked amazing on his skin and got good ladies' reactions, they may not, however, work on your skin or work on my skin as well. Well, why is that? Well, let me lay it out to you like this. With you, with me, with Jeremy, here's the deal. Our body chemistries are different. Our pH balances are different. The way we all eat, our diets are different. With our environments and the different areas we all live in, our water supplies are different. All these little factors keys into why fragrances react differently to all of us. Or put it in better perspective, that's why your favorite fragrances are likely to react differently on the people next to you. So, to lay it out short and simply, that's why the fragrances you may love may be considered trash to the person sitting next to you. And let me touch on another thing about blind buys, if I may. Blind buys can go either way. You can get some very good blind buys, and you can get some very bad ones. And impulse buying, based on the test strips at Macy's, Sephora, whatnot, is one of the biggest mistakes, if not yet one of the biggest cardinal sins of considering to purchase a fragrance. So that is something you have to keep in mind, especially as a consumer. Let me put it this way: the oil on the paper can't develop the same way as it does on your skin. So keep that in mind to test it out on your skin before and make your best judgment on whether you should buy the fragrance or not. The other mistake, number 2, is a lot of people don't sample, or in other words, they don't try before they buy. Let me lay it out to you like this. This is why you have people in the community like My Mickers, Frunkinator, A Gentleman's Journey, and even Max Forte, all these guys are encouraging you all to sample, 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 sample. And I'm even telling you all, encouraging you all to sample. I mean, don't go blind buying these niche and other independent fragrances from these fragrance houses. I mean, this stuff is expensive and pricey. Lay it out like this. If you buy, let's say, a 15 milliliter split of Parrot by Parfums de Marly, that'll run you around maybe $50, whereas a full bottle of it, a full 100 ml bottle, will retail around $250. That's a big gap. Yeah, you can make off a $50 split, but it's hard to make up blind buying a $250 bottle. So don't blind buy these niche fragrances. Or let me put it out to you in better perspective. I advise you, don't blind buy a full bottle of any fragrance that's over $1.50 a milliliter. I mean, just don't do it. I mean, the risk of the dissatisfaction is a lot higher than you think. I mean, let me put it to you this way. If you buy a fragrance like Tonka Imperial by Guerlain, which is 100 ml runs around $265, and you don't like it, and then you try to turn around and sell it on eBay, you're only going to get 65 to 70% back at most. So then you're going to have to sell several other bottles to make up what you paid for that bottle of Tonka Imperial. So I encourage you all to sample, sample, sample. Try before you buy. That's tip number 2. The other mistake number 3 that a lot of people make is that they don't buy and acquire fragrances that actually work for them. A lot of people, especially these young guys in the community, they go and acquire fragrances based off of a lot of these reviews of these top, most complimented scents and all these other panty dropper reviews. They hype all this stuff up, and then they later turn around and say, nah, it doesn't work that way. No. That's why you have also people like Lanier Smith saying to wear what you love and not what other people say you should like. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's good to see other people's tastes and fragrances, but it's also important to see what works for you and what suits your personality and lifestyle as well. I mean, let me lay it out to you like this. You don't just go buying Dior Sauvage and Givenchy Pie, Grey Vetiver, and L'Instant de Guerlain Extreme, thinking that everybody's going to love you now when it can likely have the opposite effect. I mean, don't get me wrong, but that is why you should find something that best suits you. So finding fragrances that work for you and your lifestyle and personality is an important factor to keep in. And this is another tip/mistake you should look into, is researching reformulations, because there are a lot of reformulations recurring. As a consumer, it's important for you to do your research and find out if your favorite fragrance or fragrances have been reformulated, or better yet, it's also important to find out whether or not your favorite fragrances are actually it's also important to find out whether these reformulations of your fragrances, are they good reformulations or are they dangerous reformulations? Because let me lay it out to you like this. Some of the vintage fragrances of the 70s and 80s were absolutely phenomenal. But sadly, when you get to the 2000 and 2010 reformulations, they're nothing but junk today. And it's a big, I have to say, it is quite unfortunately, especially that the fragrance industry is doing this. So, here's my last tip slash mistake slash tip. A lot of people make the mistake of doing what is known as redundant purchasing. Let me lay it out to you like this. There are a lot of fragrances that are based off of ones that you already have, that are likely clones of what you have, that were basically inspired by it. To give you an example of redundant purchasing, you don't want to go around, buy a L'Homme Sport, and then turn around and buy Versace Pour Homme, because those two fragrances are pretty similar enough. Or put it in better perspective, you don't want to turn around and buy Acqua di Gio and then turn around and buy Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue, because Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue, even though both those scents are great scents, Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue was inspired by Acqua di Gio. And all this leads, and here's the deal. If you're buying fragrances that are, for instance, fruity, that are citrusy, then, I mean, don't get me wrong, you do have the right to like what you like, but if you're buying, for instance, fragrances that are citrusy and then fragrances that are citrusy and fruity, you're kind of buying the same stuff. But all this leads to my final point. It's good to have an assortment of different fragrances, but it's also important, especially for you as a consumer, to have an assortment of different types of fragrances for different types of occasions. So, like I said, if you're buying fragrances that are citrusy and then are fresh and fruity, you're kind of buying the same stuff. But if you're actually, for instance, if you buy Dior Homme, then turn around and buying Midnight in Paris, then turn around and buying Grey Vetiver, and then turn around and buying Tom Ford's Noir, then you actually have what is known as an arsenal. So I hope this helps. So that's all the time I have for you all today. That's my tutorial for you. Let me know what you think of this tutorial down in the comments section below. Do you like it, love it, hate it? Let me know about that. Also, in case you haven't already, please like and subscribe to my channel for future videos and content. I'll definitely appreciate you for it. So I'm Xavier the Magnificent X, hoping you all take care. Thank you so much for watching and tuning in. Take care. Have a great day. Smell great, and have a magnificent day. Peace.